Well, I'm not strongly opposed to it. I mean, I give them a lot more grief than they deserve because of all the points that you just mentioned. I mean, they're Whole Foods advocates, and there's definitely a lot of people who have problems with grains, have problems with dairy. Paleo is a godsend concept for them that really helps them out a lot. But in general, I do really feel that human beings are a warm weather creature. We don't have any body hair, and like all other primates, we originated in warm weather places, and then we slowly crept northward. And during the Paleolithic era, our great intelligence allowed us to tool up and develop what we needed to kill large game that we would have never been able to kill with our bodies and our design alone. We had the opportunity to turn these large ruminant animals into food and make a home for ourselves and survive and do well. That doesn't necessarily mean that because humans ate that way, once they migrated into the higher latitudes, that is the optimal human diet, and that we should eat tons of lean protein, and that should be the main focus of our diet. Paleo, kind of crossed over into low carb. We discussed this on the blog. It doesn't have to be low carb.
Sure.
The Katavan diet is a paleo diet, but it's 69% carbohydrate. Stefan Lindeberg, he has nothing against carbohydrates, and he's as paleo as it gets. So I have a lot of similarities with these, more similarities than differences. I think Mark Sisson's recommendations on exercise is outstanding. I think he's right on with a lot of that, and I hope to get into that on the blog later this year as well. But it's kind of a limiting and constraining mindset, and it's kind of hard to criticize it when they have so many positive points. But again, I see people like JT who comments almost daily at the blog that trying to do this low carb paleo thing, really did him a lot of injustice. And again, I think when you get into that mindset where science is excluded to be participant in some kind of movement or ideology, the science starts to take the back burner, and observation of human beings eating a high-starch diet all over the face of the planet with good results, suddenly grains become the evil villain of all mankind, when we know that there's people who ate grains all over the face of the planet, and people actually went there and gathered hard data to find that they had no heart disease, no type 2 diabetes, no obesity. So again, I think they go a little bit overboard, because there's a huge difference between Neolithic foods, which are foods that were introduced within the last 10,000 years, which we're seem fairly well adapted to, most of us, and the foods that were invented in the 20th century, such as high fructose corn syrup, vegetable oil, margarine. There's a huge fundamental difference. I think they're putting too much emphasis on the wrong bad guy, and but that's just my own personal bias. And again, the low carb thing is very, very tough to swallow when I see so many people having long-term problems with low carb. They were so thoroughly convinced that was the natural human diet, and that carbs raise insulin and they're going to become diabetic if they eat carbs. These are all major fantasies that need a little bit of reconciliation. And I'm more than happy to be the person who provides the other side of that coin, because it needs to be presented. I think there's too many people infatuated with paleo and some of its principles, and they need to be kept in check, just like everybody else.